Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are so delighted you are here for our presentation. We did this at Bridge, so it's a repeat, but it's really great information, learning. We're going to talk about beyond driving donor response with an assignment model. And so that way you still use premiums. We're not against premiums. We love premiums as you do, and freemiums, as I like to call them. But if we can target some of our donors and spend less money, which is so important, that's what we're going to talk about today. I am joined by Haley Schulman, the Vice President of Direct Marketing and Intermediate Gifts of the Alzheimer Association, and my colleague here at Moore, Alex Kimball, the VP of Data Science and Technology, and they are really experts in this subject. They have been using this. For them, this model is OG. I think we've been using it for how long, Alex?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years
Yes.
for the Alzheimer's Association. So this is a proven model that works. So today we're going to walk through a few things. Oh, do you guys want to say hi or anything to our wonderful audience? Anything to share?
Hi, everyone. Looking forward to doing this presentation. I'm happy I don't have the clicker that didn't work at Bridge, so it should be a lot more user-friendly.
Yeah, great to share more about this product with you all. And I am advancing the slide, so forgive me if I make any mistakes. But Jamie will go through an intro to the product, and then myself and Haley will share a little bit more about applications.
Yep, and that's what we're going to share here, kind of a summary of how we're walking through this. And again, we're so pleased you're joining. Feel free to use chat. We're not going to ask you any qualifying questions today, but we welcome your questions. Moving on to the next slide, please. I think all of you know this is not surprising. We're being asked to do more and more with less. We're stretched thin. We're expected to deliver. We need to grow our donor base, and we're being asked to put our money in more and more channels to make the same. Budgets are flat or shrinking. Costs are rising. Oh my goodness, postage is so very high, and audience fatigue is real. So we need real solutions. Direct mail is still an integral part of the conversation, and so we need real solutions. When we use it in the most effective manner. Next slide, please. A large national volunteer health organization, hint, hint, one of our panelists, replaced a high-cost premium package with a non-premium for a third of the active donor audience. They were able to reduce campaign expense by 23% and it didn't impact response rate and revenue, which is amazing. This was rolled out to all current direct mail campaigns as an annual strategy and saved $250,000 that they were able to reinvest across the fundraising program. And that's what I think all of you are liking to, and that's why we're here to share it with you. So one size doesn't fit all. For a long time, we just mailed everybody because it was cost effective to do that. It just made sense. Mailing was cheap. And so multiple opportunities to give. And a single package hit everybody, and that is not the strategy we need today. So one size really didn't fit anyone. Segmentation helped, audience selections in a single package, and we could possibly use some RFM and other strategies. That is not a true long-term solution, and you're kind of eyeballing things to make decisions, not using data as a strategic approach. And Alex, please chime in here anything if you have anything. Next slide. Status quo, 2 packages determined by an nth and sextillation. So maybe you have your premium and your non-premium, and you're kind of guessing who gets what, with the mailing audiences. That worked for a while, but again, costs are rising. We're having to get, we have tariffs overseas. A lot of people get premiums and freemiums from there. So that got us to a better place, but it's really not fixing and solving for the problem. I think we've all used models for a long time. We just haven't used them this way to target which package to which audience. So we need to mail smarter, more targeted, the right package, the right donor and at the right time. Now we can target each donor with the optimal package, lower costs intelligently, shifting mail volume to where people want to receive packages. We can determine, we have enough data out there to determine whether the person wants to receive a premium or non-premium, or maybe there's a mixed bottle depending on the package. Maintain response rate and revenue, create more net revenue. We all want more net revenue. We all want more revenue. We want better responses, and we can improve the donor experience. And that's what we all want to do. And the assignment model really does this. Alex, on to you.
So all those key goals that Jamie just mentioned is what we're going to talk more about today, and how they are achieved through our offer assignment model. I'm going to give a little bit of background on predictive modeling in general, and starting with a maturity curve of mailing audience techniques. So this is thinking about who we are reaching out to, how we're reaching out to them. And what Jamie talked about is really living in the lower end of this curve with the profiling and transaction-based segmentation. And then a step up from that, there could be some additional layers layered onto segmentation techniques. It could be something organization specific, some sort of profile, which can generate a bit more performance, but is not going to be as sophisticated as the solutions at the top of the curve. And a lot of the transaction-based and segmentation-based approaches are done with big Excel spreadsheets and looking at a few different places, maybe doing some highlighting. And this does and has worked to a certain extent. It's better than nothing, but there's a major limit in that you're making widespread decisions on large groups based on pretty limited information. Generic modeling will be not organization specific. Maybe it's a score category tied to donors, but it's not going to be as fine-tuned. And the offer assignment models that we'll be talking more about are at the top of this curve. They are very custom. They are organization specific and drill very deeply into package and strategy and creative. They're going to have frequent score application with at least annual builds, with scores every time they're used. It's a very consultative process. So there needs to be a big understanding of the fundraising program if it's going to be done well. It's not just a black box data science-y type deal. You need to understand what the goals of the program and how the models can help achieve those goals. We've made a lot of advancements as well in being able to do this custom modeling and really focus a lot on what the strategy is and then drive the models to achieve that strategy. More efficient, less costly, better technology has made all of this a lot easier than when I started doing this. But ultimately, the model is great, but how it's used is the most important. So a visual of using a sophisticated predictive model to drive the plan of which donors are getting what package at what time. So Jamie gave a few examples where we're using segmentation to select who is going to make it into a campaign, and then a widespread, pretty simple view of who's going to get what package. So you could think about, maybe donors who have given more than $100 ever would get a more expensive package. And then you kind of have your next tier that will get maybe a slightly lower cost package that's somewhat similar. And then you have a few people that you're not going to mail. And this visual shows about 50 people. When we're making decisions on thousands of times that's when you really need the predictive model to make these decisions, rather than a person saying, these people should get X and these people should get Y, and let's hold these people out. We've been doing this for a long time. and it is a proven method over 10 years with Alzheimer's Association, and it has had a tremendous impact in the program. There are substantial benefits that go much, much more beyond just the campaigns that we're actually doing these in. It is a long-term strategy. So how does it work? Number one, we're leveraging thousands of predictive features. Our data set has over 250 million households, over 120 million unique donors, over 650 nonprofits, almost 2 billion transactions. Without all this data, we're not able to build effective models. Data is key. We have coverage on every adult in the United States, including attitudinal, transactional, demographic, political affiliation, and voting behavior, all on a fast, scalable platform. So I like to give a real world example of how data is important. So kind of relating to everyday life. Haley is from Chicago. She lives there. And we were talking about the show The Bear on Hulu that is set in Chicago. So I'm from Boston. I live there. From there, if you had just that piece of information, you would think Haley is more likely to like that show. So if you're a Hulu, you want to target, advertise that to her so she watches it and keeps her subscription and all that. Haley does not like The Bear. And think about other pieces of information that would be important in making that decision. Did she watch season 1 of The Bear? Did she start it and then stop it? Are there other shows that are like The Bear that she has or has not watched that would be indicative of her likelihood to click on this, watch it, and be a happy Hulu subscriber? So data is driving everything. All of these models are custom built for organization, package, and audience. When we talk about offer assignment models, every single time it's going to be a combination of many models that go into generating donor predictions. It's a very consultative process. So again, requiring deep understanding of strategy, creative, and goals. And we're utilizing advanced AI-based machine learning algorithms to drive the models. These models will continually improve based on new data and strategies. They weight thousands of data points, so they decide what is important and predictive and how these values contribute to scoring. So it's not just that we have the data to do this. Sometimes it's not the most obvious thing. What's going to be most important in what a donor prediction will end up with. Sometimes it's not the most logical thing. It's really important that you have a good modeling strategy and process to weight all of these data points and identify the key patterns within the data. These models will recognize that different types of donors behave differently. And this is key. The function of offer assignment isn't who will and won't respond. It's what will a donor respond to. So we want to really establish differentiation. And they're fast to deliver results, adapt to changes, and incorporate latest data science and technology techniques. Ultimately, we are matching offer to the individual, factoring in what the goals are of each campaign, factoring what the goals are more annually and longer term, and then optimizing performance based on these goals. So there's a lot of tuning into generating cost savings, generating more response, generating more revenue, and playing around with different levers to meet the goals. All right, so these models can be used for a variety of purposes, programs, and functions. We're going to focus on direct mail and go through a bunch of case studies to give an example of different ways and areas and different goals these models are achieving. So when we build offer assignment models, it's done so as specifically as possible. So at the organization, package, audience, and situation level, there could be across the year, even with the same package and organization, some different goals that are going to drive the modeling decisions. And ultimately, these models can work anytime you have potentially two or more solutions with varying costs. The active audience is where we began using offer assignment models, and the general goal of this and other areas is to drive net revenue. So doing so in the active audience, we identified campaigns that were typically everyone receiving a premium and choosing some portion of the audience to receive a premium package. And again, that portion of the audience is identified at the individual level. So will this person respond better to a premium or a non-premium? The goal is to save cost and boost net at the same time, foster a better, more individualized donor experience. We're also able to enhance the power of package testing within the premium and non-premium inclined donors. So we found that in many cases, organizations try to test it out of package A or package B. And when done so across an entire audience, it's kind of hard to beat controls. They exist for a reason. They've been successful and they've likely beaten a lot of other strategies and packages through the years with other A/B testing. So when we're able to hone in on who will be a more premium or non-premium inclined donor, testing different creative, different messaging, and different sorts of premium or freemium packages could be a lot more effective, and you can have a greater chance of wins within those audiences. And a big benefit of offer assignment is freeing up budget to invest in other areas because of the cost savings that are identified by using the offer assignment model. So if you have an extremely high cost package, something that's in the realm of $1,000 per 1,000 mail, if you identify even 10, 20, 30% of those donors to receive something that's closer to $300 per 1,000, you are going to have a lot of cost savings to reinvest elsewhere. And we're also transitioning house files to be less reliant on higher cost fundraising. So there's a long-term benefit in spending less longer term because you're going to get better results when people aren't used to always getting a cost package. In lapsed audience, the goal is to reactivate with efficiency. So when we talk about lapsed and acquisition, we are trying to get more response. In general, we're trying to get people back into those active audiences, and we're most often combining offer assignment with selection modeling. So this will create a powerful multi-package reactivation strategy where we're not limited on a campaign to campaign level of just everybody gets the same thing. And we like to look throughout a mail plan for an entire year and balance premium and non-premium mailings to get optimal annual results. So it is a much longer term view. And when there are existing multi package campaigns, we're optimizing those as well. And in getting more non-premium responders, we are also reactivating higher average gift donors to improve long-term value. And again, that future fundraising expense. This is going to be another benefit of using offer assignment in acquisition, that higher average gift donor acquisition to improve that long-term value. We're also boosting response where there are multi-package campaigns and having a better solution than using a segmentation or list-based decision or a just end decision on who gets what package. We're using individual level custom modeling and looking to boost response by 10% or more. And then we are also embracing the power to test and evaluate optimal package ratios within campaigns. And that really means we're not confined to how many donors fit into a certain segment or a certain list within an acquisition mail plan. We have flexibility to see, should 20% of the audience get package A or B, or 30 or 40? And we can look at all that. We can react to budget changes, and we can also factor this into an annual plan to improve LTV and reduce expense and future expense. Okay, so a lot of background there. The rest of our session will focus a lot on case studies and real results where we've used these models. So I will hand it to Haley now to talk about offer assignment in Alzheimer's Association's renewal program.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Obviously, as previewed, this model did and does work for us. Otherwise, this would be a pretty boring presentation that I would be giving. But we're going to walk through case studies showing how the offer assignment model helped us optimize our premium usage in our renewal program. The goals, as Jamie and Alex have, obviously stated, reduce fundraising costs without sacrificing performance and create more strategic investment opportunities. And what we found was, with the right model, premiums can be used more purposefully when they're truly driving performance. Next slide. Historically, premiums performed well in our renewal campaigns, but we knew that not every donor needed one to respond. With modeling, we matched the right offer to the right donor, which for some meant a lower cost non-premium approach. This wasn't about eliminating premiums altogether, but it was about shifting the balance intentionally. A good reminder of how important flexibility with premium and non-premium came in 2022, when there was a Finnish label strike, which I'm sure many experienced, which made it nearly impossible to get premium components for a few months. Label costs skyrocketed if they were available at all. But because we'd already tested and built confidence in our non-premium strategies through our modeling, we were able to pivot to non-premium packages. Premium-only clients struggled, but we had resilience baked into our strategies. Slide. So this is what the shift looked like. Previously, 100% of our donors received labels. With the model, 57% now get non-premium formats. We didn't alienate donors. We improved the results by tailoring our approach, and then this gave us more control over cost while maintaining engagement. So this is just a visual slide of our premium versus our non-premium package with the labels. Next slide. Okay, so the results, they speak for themselves here. 11% increase in average gift, 4% increase in response, 15% increase in revenue, 27% reduction in cost per dollar raised, and 37% increase in net revenue. That last number is a real game changer because we generated significantly more net income with a more efficient strategy. So building cross-package donors. A second case study is going to look at donors who had only ever responded to premiums. Using the model, we identified a portion of that audience to test with the non-premium offers, and that helped us build new behavior, getting donors comfortable without giving an incentive. And the result was cost savings now with a better long-term value later. So again, visual representation, 100% previously receiving premiums and now 35% engaging through non-premium formats. These are the kind of behavioral shifts that can unlock future value. And we're not just optimizing today, we're conditioning donors for sustainable giving tomorrow. With this, we saw a modest increase in gift size and response, but it still led to a meaningful 8% revenue boost and reduction in cost per dollar raised. And then these are incremental gains that just compound year after year. And again, this was a portion of the audience that was considered locked into premium dependency. And using the model, we were able to show that that is actually not the case, and they can give in multiple ways. And looking at the annual impact, so zooming out, this modeling approach delivered hundreds of thousands of dollars in net revenue. This wasn't just extra. We reinvested it into growth strategies across the program. Thousands of donors were converted into higher LTV segments, reducing our dependence on premium heavy tactics. And it's not just about saving money in the short term, it's about building a smarter, more sustainable program. Those are my studies.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. So those are a couple examples. And you saw the first one where there is a major increase in net revenue. And then the second one was a much smaller increase in net revenue, but the goals of those two models were completely different. And as we go through some more examples of offer side models and what the results look like and what the situations are where they're being used, I would encourage everyone to think about offer assignment isn't confined at all to even just the examples we're showing you today. Every organization and every donor base is different. There's going to be a different mix of packages. There's going to be a much different history. There's going to be much different behaviors. So offer assignment's not one size fits all. And beyond renewal, where Haley's examples were from, we are using offer assignment in mid-level lapse and acquisition, all to boost our clients' fundraising programs. So a few more examples, starting with acquisition, where we're optimizing by tuning the package mix in campaigns that already have a dual package strategy, but doing so in a more efficient way. In this case, we are seeing a 13% increase in response and a 12% increase in revenue, with a significant decrease in cost per dollar raised at 18% and a small decrease in average gift, really just due to generating more responses. Overall, we're still getting just as many higher dollar gifts as the alternative. And how we did it. So before, packages and those decisions were assigned by the source list of donors that have been selected to receive an acquisition campaign. High cost cards were mailed more broadly, and using the offer assignment model at the same volume, we instead had individual level targeting, generating more donors, higher ROI without having to mail any more premiums. So package mix stays the same in this case as it otherwise would have been, but we're getting over 10% more responders. This example is from reactivation, and instead of taking a group of donors who would have received a premium and identifying a group to receive a non-premium, we did the opposite here. So with this organization's goal of wanting to get more response in their lapse program, we strategically added a notepad package to a previously non-premium, 100% non-premium campaign to boost lapse donor response. So in this case, non-premium packages were being mailed to the full audience, and response rates were falling short of goals. And at the same time, testing premiums to the full audience was ineffective. They were not able to beat the control by doing so because of the high cost per dollar raised with the notepad package when it was mailed to everyone. So by introducing notepads to just a portion of the audience, we saw that 50% increase in response, which is huge. And as Haley said, I mean, these are things that do compound over time. A somewhat, to me, shocking view here. So on the left, before the offer assignment model was implemented, 100% of the audience received a non-premium. Just by adding the notepad package to 21% of the audience, we were able to get these really spectacular results. So it's also not an extravagantly high cost package that we used in this case. It's really a letter with a small notepad in it, not going to cost um, extravagant postage as well, like some of the other premiums can. So I think this is a great example of being very strategic about using a premium in a way that's not going to increase cost exorbitantly and still get the benefits of using a premium package to achieve the goal of more response. And in this case study, we'll look more at super high cost premiums. This is something I mentioned earlier, where if you have a premium that has been part of the program for a long time, and a lot of organizations see the really high response that comes with that, but not all of the audience may need or want them. So instead of adding a non-premium into the package mix of this campaign, we added a low cost premium as the alternative to the recipe. And we actually saw an increase in response and revenue, nearly a 20% decrease in cost per dollar raised, and an increase in average gift as well. How we did it. So high-end premiums, think your tote bag, deluxe cards, gift wrap. It could be a mission specific item that is set on the front end. The high performance often comes with a relatively high cost of fundraising. And when you take a step back and look at an annual view, I think that there are cases where you can look at that and think it's acceptable for, okay, this once or twice a year, the CPDR isn't going to be as good as it is with some other campaigns, but we are getting an absolutely killer response. So we don't want to get away from that completely. Using the offer assignment model is a way to really balance that, get that high response, and do so in a very cost-effective way. So after the offer assignment model approach, we moved a portion of the audience to receive that lower cost package that still contained a front-end premium. So donors are still getting something that they hold on to, that they will see, that will make you think of the organization. And we saw a tremendous success, increase in revenue, decrease in cost. And what the change here looked like. So with no model, everyone was getting the high cost premium. With the offer assignment model, we identified 25% of the audience to get the lower cost package. So not a huge portion of the audience. Most of the audience is still getting that high cost premium, but we're getting significant package savings just by shifting that small portion of the audience to get something that doesn't have to cost so much, that doesn't have to have the excessive postage cost that comes with it. Postage has been going up more and more recently, and it's happening at a greater rate with larger packages. So while costs are rising, it's impacting bigger premiums even more. So it's more important now than ever to use these packages really intentionally and really strategically. If performance stays the same and cost goes up, at some point, it's not going to be worth mailing that, and it's not going to be worth mailing that to the full audience. So here's a way to still do so, but do so in an efficient way. And as I mentioned before, so the impact of offer assignment models are truly widespread, and the possibilities are endless. So these examples just represent a portion of the effective applications that we have seen. But with the differences in organizations, we constantly find different ways we can use these models to help organizations fundraise more efficiently and get more revenue in response. So as we move forward with solutions having varying costs within across channels, there's improved technology for organizations to fundraise smarter. We can react in real time, and predictive models have a place here. They drive the donor journey, they improve the donor experience, and they really give donors what they want and tailor messaging and tailor creative and tailor packages to the individual. All right. So quick summary here. The models individualize the donor experience. They're a proven tactic to greatly improve the cost of fundraising. They build long-term value in the donor base, and they're able to react to the environment. Haley mentioned the label shortage. There's always going to be changes and tweaks with budget, with supply, with production, and with costs. Budgets are constantly changing, more or less expense. We have extra at the end of the year. We want to cut at the beginning of the year. We don't have the budget to mail this full campaign with all these premiums at the end of the fiscal year. What can we do? The offer assignment model can help with all of that. We've also had experiences with changes in postage and tariffs and materials and availability that have been mailing as much of the premiums impossible. Offer assignment modeling has been a very strong method to combat all of these hurdles. It's also elevated our creative strategy and implementation. So again, testing within the groups that we're identifying to hone in on more premium or non-premium inclined donors. With that, I will open it up to some questions. I know we've got some in the chat. I can tackle a couple of these. So examples of a lower cost premium would be a notepad, a label, a sticker, something that will fit more into a smaller package. Thanks, Jamie. So those are just a few examples. Does the increase in net include the cost of the model? Yes, we do include that in the result. Anytime we're evaluating the implementation of an offer assignment model, we'll look at what are the cost savings we want to achieve here, and then drive the model to get the response and revenue impact that will achieve the goals and make it so the model will have a strong ROI.
Any other questions or follow-up questions?
All right, we're getting a question about membership cards or certificates. I've seen these vary in cost. So when we think about offer assignment modeling, it doesn't have to be limited to a premium and a non-premium. So hopefully that example I gave with the high cost premium, that tote bag, gift wrap, deluxe card, could be evaluated with a lower cost option. That membership card or certificate, I think, is borderline on whether or not that's a freemium, but that certainly can be used with offer assignment modeling. Another question: how far in advance do you have to score models to effectively plan production of packages? This is a really good question. We typically like to apply the offer assignment models around the same time selection is happening. This can vary across different programs as well, but we're always making sure that the implementation of the offer assignment model will fit into the plan. And if you're wondering, what about packages that have a really long lead time? That's when we will really strategically design tests to identify what is going to be the portion of the right ratio of the audience to get the higher cost and lower cost package. So even if a package has, I think the longest I've seen for a production lead time would be around 4 months, we can still use the offer assignment model, but we'll have to plan ahead for that. And there could be a longer time to kind of get to what is that right ratio. Haley, we have a question for you. The active donor audience scenarios, what is the difference between those two audiences?
They were both renewal audiences. One was identifying premium donors that we could convert into that we could identify in the model as non-premium donors. but I think they had responded. Alex, I might be wrong. I just like look at this, but they had responded to both at a certain point. We were just figuring out like where else we could mail them non-premium. The second case study were people that had never responded to a non-premium. It was premium only, and then we were identifying people that then we would consider cross-track can respond to both. So the first audience was people that had responded to either. The second was people that had only responded to one ever to find opportunities to mail both.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. So there are donors within every organization, and sometimes it's very prevalent, that are acquired with a premium package and then only have responded to a premium package. A lot of the time, when you try to test a non-premium package to that group as a whole, it doesn't do very well, and the response is really low. The offer assignment model helps with that quite a bit by identifying the portion of the audience who will be responsive to the non-premium package. And then it moves them into that different treatment in the case for Haley and Alzheimer's Association, where they are getting, a lot of different package mix throughout the year. How many different tests have to be done to have enough response data to model on? This is going to vary by organization. So I think this brings up another strong point. If there is a situation where you have never, ever mailed one of the packages that you want to implement in offer assignment, we do have to design and execute testing to build up an observation set. It's great to have around 1,000 responses to have to build the models on, but sometimes we can identify ways to get this working without ideal, and then it'll just improve and improve as we go forward. There's a client that I worked with 7 or 8 years ago on this that had a part of their audience that never had received a non-premium package. We looked at sort of a like group within their program to build models off of a non-premium package and apply to that group. And then over time, once we were able to build up the observation set to build models specific to that audience, that's what we did, and results got better and better. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, these have all been great. I think we can end there. Recording of this will be available on YouTube and Mora's website by the end of the week. Thank you for joining. If you do have any follow-ups, feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk and tell you more about this great product. And thanks again to Jamie and especially Haley for joining and going through a lot of great results that we've seen with these models.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you for attending.
Thanks. Bye.